Hey guys, here we go into the beginning of the end for Carlos Takam, as Joe Joyce was able to make an adjustment to the counters that Takam was making to Joe Joyce's jab on the line. So how do we get here? Well, in the fifth round, and not just in the fifth round, throughout the fight, Takam had been countering Joyce's jab as Joyce would get to the front foot. But here we can see Takam is on the front foot, and Joyce makes a jab attack at him, and he tries to counter him kind of with this jumping, leaping-ish hook that he's able to get a lot of extra power out because he's on the front foot. Now he's trying to time Joe Joyce as Joe Joyce brings his weight from the front foot to the back foot, leaving that jabbing position because his weight moves to the front foot, and as he starts leading back to the back foot, the jab can clip him, and it can also set up an opportunity for Takam, while he's on the back foot, to set up a right hand as well. Okay, so during the end of the fifth round, this was a technique that Takam used multiple times, trying to get a piece of Joe Joyce's jab and catch him with the hook into the right hand. So at the beginning of the sixth round, Joyce made a simple adjustment and got on the line, and instead of leaving this position immediately, he decided to make a follow-up attack on the line as Carlos Takam looked to enter his line, and then as Takam made it to the position with his hook that he was looking to, Joe Joyce found him there with a counter hook first. So he got all the extra momentum from his punch as well as Takam's and was able to wobble him and catch him with this excellent shot. It was actually a really great fight from Joe Joyce. There were a couple of things I didn't like, a couple of the mechanics and the stuff that he was changing, but he learned a lot, and there were a lot of really interesting things that he did. If you want a full fight film study, check it out. You can check it out on Patreon. We watched the whole fight. We go over all of it. And I do actually think it was a good stoppage. I think that Takam was done. You can't let someone throw 80 punches at you. You just can't. So, unanswered, right? However many it was. Anyway, stay tuned. There's a black belt boxing Patreon testimonial, and someone who purchased it recently. And they've just been blown away by the results. So check it out. He's going to tell you a little bit about him. It's just him jumping rope. But he's going to tell you a little bit about himself, how long he's been part of my Patreon, and, a little bit about how to do some of the stuff that Joe Joyce does in this fight. Okay, so there's going to be a little bit of a commercial here. And then we're going to do a little bit of a film study on some of the Patreon, on the black belt boxing stuff that Joe Joyce does in the fight. After the commercial. So watch the commercial or whatever, and then, or this guy's testimonial, and then at the end of the video, there's going to be some more film study of some of the techniques and the highlights of what I thought that Joe Joyce did the best of in the fight. So check it out.
Hi, my name is Adrian. I am an amateur boxer from Germany, and excuse my English. I purchased the black belt boxing program about 3 weeks ago, and at first I had my doubts since I'm a student who doesn't make a lot of money, and I had to consider it a lot. Well, after a few days of consideration, I finally went for it, and in hindsight, it was worth every single penny. If you want to know how boxing works in the most fundamental way possible and how to hit with real power, then you are not going to regret investing that money. And if you're hesitant, that's also cool. I would say try out Patreon first. It's only $10 a month, and do some drills, and you will definitely notice that it's worth it. Here's a little story. When I started boxing, I had a coach who always criticized my power when we were doing pad work. He would literally get frustrated by my lack of power and quit. Well, it turns out he himself had actually no clue how to teach powerful striking. I tried to. I would hit as hard as I could and gas out within a round. It's just the fact that I didn't know the mechanics, and when you don't know the mechanics, you waste a lot of energy trying to make up for it. What's funny about that is that I realized that my coach actually didn't know shit about boxing. All he knew were anecdotals like, turn your hips more or move more. Like that's supposed to mean something. In fact, 99% of all coaches don't know shit about boxing. And I would bet my ass that your coach doesn't either. Well, in the black belt course, you learn the real fundamentals of boxing and the mechanics of powerful striking, and a variety of fun drills. And when I say fun drills, I mean fun drills. Some of the drills I sometimes do for 40 minutes straight, with some little breaks in between. And usually when I go back to the gym and start shadowboxing, my body automatically does a few things better than last time. And I'm always like, this is magic. It literally feels like magic. I put a lot of trust in Matthew and his theory. I've only quote-unquote known him for a few months, and I swear to God, my technique and understanding of boxing is at least 3 times as good as it was. I have no time to figure out all the stuff myself. I want to become a champ, and I truly believe Fouts is the right coach for that. He has a pure appreciation and love for the sport, and you can really notice it in his videos. It doesn't feel like a scam like it does with certain other coaches on YouTube. This man has a fucking master's degree in boxing, and I recommend to everyone who has boxing related goals to follow Fouts in his theory, and you are not going to regret it.
Hey guys, here we go. Well, as you guys just saw in the last testimonial there, that's one of my most recent patrons. He purchased the Black Belt Boxing program, and the whole emphasis on that is learning about power. It's not just about body mechanics and how boxing works and punching power. It's about how your body works and learning true athleticism, and the drills that I created in that are completely unique and you'll only ever see there in that program. And it's a very, very interesting and fun way to practice and learn boxing. And the drills are 100% transferable to your fighting, okay? And you're going to learn really, really interesting weight management techniques that allow you to get your weight to the front foot, shoot a jab, and then while you're doing this, pendulum step forward to set up a big pendulum right hand that you're stepping into, okay? Now, this is one of the most interesting techniques that Joe Joyce was able to use against Takam, and it's a technique that's becoming much more and more popular in boxing, and you know, it's very, very, very effective way to find someone when you punch at them if they're running away, right? I don't want to say running, right, but moving off the line, if they're not looking to engage during that setup or they found themselves in a poor position. But it's not free, okay? It's not free to just take a step off the line in front of a professional fighter, okay? So even though Carlos Takam is here on the front foot, and when the attack comes, he's able to take a step off the line and move all the way off the line, take a full step off, it's not free, okay? You still have to pay for this move. And the Black Belt Boxing program will teach you the weight management skills to teach you to chain your weight transitions together in an effective way to maximize your ability to make your opponent pay for their inability to get off the line with you, or their inability to really get off the line with you, right? Or, you know, the idea that they don't want to be on the line with you anyway, okay? And it's a beautiful, beautiful technique and program to kind of teach this kind of stuff, okay? And I think it was actually the kind of move of the fight, as Joe Joyce was able to do it, not just with his left hand, but penduluming off of his right hand too, in really, really beautiful technique, fluidly shooting that shot and getting his weight to the front foot. And then again, a pendulum step is where you're going to take that weight here, and you're going to transfer it to the back foot as you bring your weight and you shift positions. Now, this is a front foot position. Your weight's on the front foot. You're going to be making a line between your heel, knee, and head. Now, this is your position 1. Now, as he transfers his weight to the position 2, he's going to be crossing his opponent's line, bringing his weight more toward the back foot, bringing this shoulder closer to the line, and setting up his right hand as he adjusts his weight back to the back foot, while he also controls him with the left hand here. Really, really beautiful work. And then he's able to take a step with this left leg as he transfers his weight into that punch there. So let's just watch that technique again. Beautiful work. So front foot, boom, and now he pendulum steps back. He catches his weight on his back foot. He's going to be taking a step with his front foot, and that allows him to transfer his weight more deeply into this right hand. Even though it doesn't land super cleanly, this is a very, very, very effective technique for fighting someone who wants to get off the line with you, for fighting someone who won't stay on the front foot with you, okay? As you can see, he had a lot of success in the fight, chasing him down and then landing this beautiful right hand here. Again, getting his weight to the front foot, shooting the jab to scare Takam off the line into his position 2, and then he's able to pendulum on him, and as he crosses the line here, he's able to land this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful punch. Now, a little bit of a boxing lesson. When Joe Joyce gets here, if he doesn't have the pendulum step, his next weight transition is going to bring him where? Well, he goes here with the jab. He'll maybe shoot a right hand, but when he throws his left hook, he has to bring his weight back to his back foot, and his heel is here, okay? And that means that his head is going to be all the way over here, right? Look at how far away Carlos Takam is at the moment, okay? So he doesn't want to be that far away because he knows Carlos Takam is moving away from him, okay? So he has to use the momentum of putting his weight on the front foot here to pendulum step and shift this weight forward, but without taking a step. Because if he has to take a step, Carlos Takam is going to have too much time, okay? So the pendulum step allows Joe Joyce to make multiple moves at one time, okay? So he can chase Carlos Takam without giving Carlos Takam the same amount of opportunity to take the same amount of moves, okay? If you think about boxing in a little bit different terms, this allows him to cover a lot of ground, and now, while Carlos Takam thought he was going to be all the way off the line in a similar position that Joe Joyce would have been when he moved off the line here, instead, Joe Joyce has found himself in a position where he can transfer his weight going forward across Carlos Takam's line instead of backwards, okay? Being able to continue the engagement and continue to threaten Carlos Takam's position. Now, this is very, very, very important for a lot of reasons, okay? It's not just important because, yes, he's going to be able to land more punches. It's not just that. It's the idea that he can also not only just add power to the punch by being able to step into it, right? This is a very, very powerful punch as he brings his weight all the way from the back foot, right? Again, setting up nearly a perfect back foot pendulum step into this step across Takam's line into this big body shot. Now, again, instead of Joe Joyce throwing this punch and winding up all the way back here in Narnia away from Carlos Takam, he's able to use the pendulum step to close the distance between him and Carlos Takam, while also adding power to his punch. Now, this is a very, very big punch, right? Now, we're going to go back and look at some of the other ones that are not big punches. Well, this one's kind of a big punch, right? Kind of taps him with it. He doesn't even land it. But it's the idea that having this move available to him, whether he uses power punches or not, is able to continue to stress and put pressure on Carlos Takam and Carlos Takam's technique, okay? And this causes him to be further broken down faster and faster, okay? Now, this is exactly what Errol Spence is trying to work on right now in his... Do I have that video open? I may even have that video open. I don't have that video open. Okay, so... But that's what he's trying to work on, is being able to press his opponents from the front foot position, right? Not just from the back foot getting onto the line and then having to move off, but trying to find a way that he can get onto the line, not have to leave it, and pendulum forward and continue his attack. Again, allowing Joe Joyce to go from here. Now, if he were to transfer his weight back, he'd be all the way back here. But now he can drag this foot forward as he jumps off of this foot, catching himself with this one. Boom. Driving this foot forward to catch it forward and land a big power punch. Again, Carlos Takam is trying to get off the line from him, right? Look at how far Carlos Takam goes to get away from these punches, right? That's how far he has to go. And later in the fight, he still doesn't find himself getting away from these techniques because he gets tired, right? Because it gets harder and harder to move away. But because of the fact that Joe Joyce uses these techniques and he does them so seamlessly, so flawlessly, he's able to generate momentum because of the way that your body mechanics work. He's able to fluidly move through these positions and chain them together without using extra energy, okay? Now, that's exactly what the testimonial patron said, was that you can learn a better economy of motion, okay? And learn a better understanding of your positions as you learn how to do these techniques. And again, the drills are extremely fun, they're extremely fast-paced, and you get out of them what you put into them, okay? And they're the kinds of drills that you can add more speed and add more power and really stress your own technique doing them, okay? And again, one-of-a-kind kinds of drills, all right? Now, we're going to take a look at some of the ways that these techniques fail, okay? Now here, Joe Joyce is going to get his way to that front foot. He's going to shoot that jab. But Carlos Takam is moving his weight. He's crossing Joe Joyce's line, right? He's slipping to the front foot and landing a body shot. Boom, 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 boom. Now, just like it's not free to move off the line, right? As Carlos Takam earlier was moving off the line to get away from the pendulum step, right? Or to get away from Joe Joyce's jab here, right? If he stands his ground and Joe Joyce still pendulum steps, it's a very dangerous move. Because now, instead of Carlos Takam moving off the line and Joe Joyce expecting him to be in a position off the line, Carlos Takam has moved into the line, and now he's attacking Joe Joyce while he was in the air, okay? Now, this is very, very dangerous and can lead to a lot of very, very dangerous situations, okay? Let's take a look at another one of those dangerous situations here in the second round, where Joe Joyce does the same thing. Now, again, Carlos Takam is countering the jab with the hook, right? But the right hand was able to come over the top of the jab because of the fact that instead of Joe Joyce bringing his weight to the back foot after shooting the jab, he pendulum stepped forward and brought his weight into Carlos Takam, right? But instead, if he had shot that punch and brought his weight back to the back foot, like a normal cross would, he would have been safe and kept his weight to the back foot instead of bringing all of his weight forward. Now, it's important to learn the pendulum step correctly, learn the pendulum step, and learn pendulum boxing with correct body mechanics, and to learn it with, correct punching and striking mechanics, on top of learning how to manage your weight with just bringing your weight to the front foot and executing the pendulum step correctly, okay? There are a lot of other mechanics, all things that you will learn inside the black belt boxing video, how to properly set them up and guard the line, and it'll be built into the drills to do these kinds of things and find these places as you learn to manage your weight in very unique and interesting ways. There's also a video in there that has me teaching and demoing some of that stuff to my fighter in Patreon, discussing how he will use the black belt pendulum boxing stuff in the ring. Pendulum right hands and the pendulum step. So you can check it out. Anyway, that was one of the things that I thought that Joe Joyce did the best in the fight, was penduluming off of his jab into his right hands. It is a dangerous move, but you can learn how to train that move correctly so that you can find those spaces really put an ass whooping on somebody, okay? Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And thanks, guys.